The Grand Meridian Hotel had been Marcus's home away from home for 3 years. As a traveling sales rep, he'd stayed in hundreds of hotels, but the Meridian's old-world charm and reasonable rates kept drawing him back to Cleveland. He always requested the same room 42 overlooking the courtyard. It was quiet, predictable, safe. But tonight, 45 was occupied. "I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Chen." The desk clerk apologized, her fingers dancing across the keyboard. "There was a mix-up with the reservations. The only room available is 46, just 2 doors down. Same floor, same view." Marcus shrugged. After 12 hours on the road, he just wanted a shower and sleep. "That's fine." The clerk hesitated, her hand hovering over the key card. "There is one thing, the room's been vacant for a while. Maintenance just finished some repairs. If you experience any issues, please don't hesitate to call the front desk immediately." The emphasis on immediately struck Marcus as odd, but exhaustion clouded his judgment. He took the key card and headed to the elevator. The 6th floor felt different tonight. The hallway seemed longer, the burgundy carpet more worn. The numbers on the doors appeared to blur slightly as he walked past them. 42, 45, his usual room 46. The door to 46 stood slightly ajar. Marcus frowned. He distinctly remembered hearing the electronic lock click when he'd swiped his card. He pushed the door open and stepped inside, flicking on the lights. The room was identical to 47 in layout, but something felt wrong. The air was stale, carrying an underlying scent of copper and disinfectant. The bedspread looked freshly changed, hospital corner tight, but the pattern seemed faded, as if bleached repeatedly. He dropped his suitcase and headed for the bathroom. In the mirror, his reflection looked tired, older somehow. The fluorescent light above flickered intermittently, casting dancing shadows across his face. As he brushed his teeth, Marcus noticed dark stains in the grout between the bathroom tiles. Rust, maybe? Or old blood? The thought came unbidden, and he immediately dismissed it. Too many late-night horror movies? He changed into his pajamas and settled into bed, but sleep wouldn't come. The room felt watchful. Every small sound, the hum of the air conditioner, the distant elevator ding, the settling of old pipes, seemed amplified. Around 2 a.m., Marcus heard the first knock. 3 soft raps on the door, barely audible. He lay still, listening. The knocking came again, more insistent this time. Marcus slipped out of bed and approached the door, peering through the peephole. The hallway was empty. He returned to bed, but the knocking resumed 15 minutes later. This time, it wasn't coming from the door. It was coming from inside the walls. Tap, tap, tap. The sound moved around the room's perimeter, as if someone were walking along the inside of the walls, knocking as they went. Marcus grabbed his phone and called the front desk. "Meridian Hotel, this is Jessica. This is room 46. There's some kind of noise in the walls. Sounds like someone's inside them." A long pause. "Mr. Chen, are you sure you're in 616? "Yes, I'm sure." "The knocking is getting louder." "Roman I'll send maintenance up right away. Please stay in your room." The line went dead. As if on cue, the knocking stopped. Marcus waited, but no maintenance worker came. When he called back, the phone just rang and rang. At 3:33 a.m., the bathroom light turned on by itself. Marcus sat up in bed, staring at the yellow glow spilling from beneath the bathroom door. He hadn't left it on. The switch had been definitely in the off position. He crept toward the bathroom, but stopped when he heard water running. Not the sink or shower. It sounded like a bathtub filling. Marcus pressed his ear to the door. Over the sound of running water, he heard something else. Humming. A woman's voice, soft and melodic, humming a lullaby. His hands shook as he reached for the door handle. The humming stopped abruptly, replaced by a sound that made his blood freeze. Slow, deliberate splashing, as if someone were moving in the tub. The water stopped running. Marcus yanked his hand back from the door. In the sudden silence, he could hear his own ragged breathing and the thundering of his heart. Then came the voice. Marcus, his name, spoken in a whisper from the other side of the door. A woman's voice, waterlogged and distant. "Marcus, come in." He stumbled backward, hitting the bed. The voice continued, more insistent now. "Marcus, I've been waiting. Room 46 has been waiting." The door handle began to turn. Marcus grabbed his clothes and suitcase, not bothering to change. He had to get out. As he reached for the room's main door, the bathroom door swung open behind him. He didn't look back. The hallway felt endless as he ran toward the elevator, his bare feet silent on the carpet. Behind him, he heard the unmistakable sound of wet footsteps following. The elevator seemed to take forever. When the doors finally opened, Marcus threw himself inside, and frantically pressed the button for the lobby. As the doors began to close, he caught a glimpse of the hallway. A pale woman in a tattered white nightgown stood outside room 46, water dripping from her long dark hair, creating a growing puddle on the carpet. Her eyes were completely black, and when she smiled, Marcus saw that her teeth were stained with something dark. The elevator doors closed. In the lobby, Marcus threw his key card at the startled night clerk, a different woman than before, and headed for the exit. "Sir, wait. Your bill, keep it," Marcus called over his shoulder. He drove straight through the night, not stopping until he reached Columbus. At a truck stop diner, over coffee and eggs he couldn't taste, Marcus researched the Grand Meridian Hotel on his phone. The first article he found was from the Cleveland Plain Dealer, dated 6 months ago. Local hotel room sealed following tragic death. The Grand Meridian Hotel has permanently closed room 46 following the apparent suicide of guest Sarah Chen, 34, who was found deceased in the room's bathtub. Hotel management stated that despite extensive cleaning and renovation, subsequent guests reported disturbances that made the room unsuitable for occupancy. This marks the third unexplained death in room 46 over the past decade. Marcus's hands shook as he read further. Sarah Chen, the same last name as his own. The article included a photo, a woman with long dark hair and kind eyes. Nothing like the thing he'd seen in the hallway. But as he stared at the photo, Marcus noticed something that made his stomach turn. In the background of Sarah's picture, barely visible, was a hotel room. On the nightstand sat a familiar-looking lamp, and on the wall hung the same generic landscape painting he'd seen in room 46. Sarah Chen had been photographed in room 46, but according to the article, she died there 6 months ago. Marcus closed his phone and stared out the diner window at the pre-dawn darkness. He thought about the desk clerk's hesitation, the emphasis on calling immediately, the way she'd asked if he was sure he was in 46. They knew. They all knew. And somehow, he suspected, this wasn't over. As he sat there, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "You can't run from room 46, Marcus. I'll be waiting when you come back. We're family now." Marcus deleted the message, but as he did, another one appeared. "See you soon? Semicolon. Sarah." He threw a 20 on the table and ran for his car. But even as he drove away, Marcus knew the truth. Some doors, once opened, can never be closed again, and room 46 would always be waiting for him to come home.